through practice, which requires thousands of repetitions. In fact, the thousands of repetitions are the seeds we sow to reap the harvest of becoming a dancer. In daily living, you learn and master walking, talking, and feeding yourself over several years of practice. You learn to walk, for example, by practicing the basics. First, learning to crawl or scoot, then pushing and pulling into the vertical world to grasp the eager and encouraging hands of your parents, or a table leg, or a chair, or anything else strong enough to give you the confidence to begin again and again and again, after the inevitable triumph of gravity over your miniature yet ever-aspiring little body. Practice is the act of doing something in some aspect of our lives over and over until the act becomes habit or instinct. So customary, so usual, so ordinary that it becomes ingrained, integral to your way of doing whatever you are practicing, and then integral to your way of being, inextricably connecting what you do with who you are. Now, dancers learn to dance by practicing the fundamentals of their craft over and over again until they can move on to intermediate and then to advanced levels. Their training is designed to build, strengthen, shape, and hone their body's musculature, reflexes, and memory. I remember. I was a dancer. Now, I didn't train rigorously until I was in junior high school. And I'm telling you, you have to pound a lot of floors, plant a lot of seeds to become a real dancer. Graham estimates that the making of a mature dancer takes about 10 years. This span of a decade in the dancer's training is analogous to the formative years of your life, when you learn the fundamental tasks and assignments of living, the basic arts of getting along with other people, of nourishment, of mobility, and possibility. As Graham reminds us, it's no small wonder that dance holds an ageless allure, for it has been the symbol of the performance of living. In your life's journey, or your life's performance, some of the most important questions that you grapple with may be questions about performance in whatever sphere of life that holds the most prominence for you at the time. It could be questions about your work life, your family life, your faith life. It could be questions about your children, your health, your finances. Host these questions looking through the lens of the law of the harvest. Host the questions as you would host a special guest in your home. Pay attention, but don't hover over them. Consider, what would you like for your harvest? Then think about and be intentional about what seeds you plant. Not just here and there, not with just some of the things in your life, but with everything in your life. So, what do you want? What do you want in your life? Do you want a new job, a new car, better health, more friends, more money, children who are loving and kind? Perhaps you want to lose weight. Or maybe you want a better relationship with your sister or brother, your wife or your husband. Or you want to reach out to your dad who you haven't seen for over 20 years. Maybe you want to learn a new skill or a new language. Are your children all grown up? Do you want to downsize and move to a smaller house? Maybe you have several small children under the age of 7, and you simply want peace of mind. A few hours a day that you can call your own. A few hours a week where you can have an adult conversation. What I'm sharing with you today about the law of the harvest will help you understand how to get whatever you want in your life. Whatever you want. It will help you get from point A to point B. In other words, it will help you get from where you are now to where you want to be. It will help you get from here to there. Now, if you want any of those things that I just mentioned, remember that what you want does not happen overnight. If you want a deep friendship, you've got to sow into that relationship, right? If you want to lose 20 or 30 pounds to fit into that wonderful suit or tuxedo for the holidays or that beautiful dress for your New Year's Eve party, you've got to change your eating habits today. Probably yesterday for most of us, right? You've got to start walking or jogging or running or swimming or getting on that elliptical, right? If you want to publish a book 12 months from now, you've got to write some pages today and tomorrow and the next day and the day after that. We're talking about seeding and harvesting. And the law of the harvest says you will harvest what you sow. You will harvest what you sow in kind. Years ago, I read a wonderful little book by Anne Lamott, one of my favorite writers. The book is called Bird by Bird. I pulled it off the shelf because I was intrigued by the title. Now, the title actually comes from a story about her younger brother. It seems he had a knack for procrastinating, for putting things off, especially his homework. Her brother had an assignment to write a paper about birds, and he put it off and he put it off until the day before the paper was due. Wow, yikes, right? Now he was in a jam. So her little brother asked their dad for help since he was kind of short on time. Now the dad, aware of his predicament, told the little boy that his homework was his to do. But the son pleaded with his dad and asked him how he was ever going to complete his homework assignment since it was already late and was due the next day. Well, the dad looked lovingly at his little boy and said, "Son, you will write and you will complete your paper. How? Bird by bird." I love that. I love that story. A lot of us are just like that little boy, aren't we? We want what we want, and we want it overnight. And we want it without having to put a whole lot of effort in. And truth be told, sometimes we want what we want with no effort at all on our part. I mean, people come up to me all the time, and they ask me, "Gloria, I want to do what you do. I want to write a book. I want to teach. I want to coach. I want to speak. I want to start my own business. Can you tell me how you did it?" In other words, they want what I have, but most of them don't want to put the time in to get from here to there. They want the results, but they don't want the work, right? They want the harvest, but they don't want to go through the process. They don't want to do the necessary seeding and sowing. How many of you know that if you want to improve your tennis swing, your softball pitch, your swing, you can't improve your game overnight? If you have a 2.8 grade point average, you can't slough off all year, then wait until the last week of school and write one bang-up paper to bump up your grade point to a 4.0. It just doesn't work like that. And if you want to fit into your new swimsuit when it's time to hit the beach, you have to begin to tone and firm and maybe shed a few pounds. Weeks, if not months, before beach season arrives. Now, pretty soon, it'll be time for New Year's resolutions. And we all know that New Year's resolutions are about kicking some kind of habit or achieving some goal you want in life. Now, most of us know that our New Year's resolutions fizzle out after about 3 weeks. 3 weeks. So why do we begin with a bang and end with a bust? We begin with lots of gusto and energy and effort. Then over time, we just kind of lose sight of our goal. We lose interest, or we don't see immediate results, or something else comes along to compete for that time. And gradually, bit by bit, we begin to slack off. And before you know it, we're putting in the time and effort someplace else, but not towards that New Year's resolution. No effort, no results, right? Health clubs know this better than anybody. They get their biggest spike in sales right after the new year. They're reaping, and guess what? You're the harvest. Now, right about this time of year at my church, we're in full swing as we prepare for the Christmas holidays. I sing in our worship ministry. And during this time in December, every year we're preparing for our Christmas concerts. People come from miles around. They love Christmas, and they love Christmas music. Now, some of these folks may only come to church once a year just to hear the Christmas concerts. So the folks in our worship ministry prepare our hearts out. Did you know that the choir and the orchestra at our church begin preparing for the Christmas concerts before summer is even over? That's right. We begin preparing way back in September. And the choir and orchestra directors begin listening to new Christmas music in the spring, so they can order the music and be ready to rehearse it when September comes, so that when December comes, we can pour our hearts and souls into singing those exquisitely beautiful Christmas tunes that have been so wonderfully arranged. Once again, you harvest what you sow. Now, we all know that saying, Rome wasn't built in a day, or big oaks from little acorns grow, or train up your child in the way he should grow, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. However you say it, however you express it, today is the mother of tomorrow, and that's the law of the harvest. If you've been listening to this show, or if you've heard me speak before, or read any of my books, taken any of my courses, you've heard me say this before. If you want authority over tomorrow, you must live with intention today. Why? What we think about today, we give birth to tomorrow, or next week, or next month, or next year. How we live today shapes our tomorrow. Did you know that you are the sum total of the 5 people closest to you, the 5 people you spend the most time with? In other words, you are what you eat. You are what you consume. You are who you spend time with. So choose and decide wisely. As I mentioned on last week's show, be mindful, be thoughtful, be choiceful about who and what you listen to, about the books and magazines you read, about what you watch on TV and in the movies and on the internet. Be thoughtful, choiceful about the photographs and images you have in your home and office, about what you post on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, about what and who you allow to post on your wall. Be mindful and thoughtful and choiceful about who you spend time with in your personal and professional life. Who you are in your daily life informs and shapes who you are as a leader, as a human being, more than any other single factor. How you live is how you lead. How you live is actually how you do everything. Parent, work, community service, in your interactions with others, everything.